What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Hotel Ford. It's been a while. We've been busy with a lot. Right, guys? Yay! Muffin's still here. And Bagel. But yeah, in this episode we're tearing into my old lady's Lincoln Town car that y'all don't know nothing about. I've got a few more cars here y'all don't know nothing about yet. We've been really busy for a while with crazy family drama and stuff. I made like a whole video explaining all that, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna post it or not. But the gist of it is, hello, buddy. The gist of it is, my dad got himself into a DUI drunk driving accident. It was his fault, and yeah. People died. Life has been incredibly hard. It's made it very difficult to do YouTube videos, so I don't think I filmed one in like a year or something. But anyway, yeah, I've been trying to help my mom through that, and he's in prison and all the stuff, you know, like it should be. And then my brother got back into dope. Anyway, that's my Ranger. It used to be my mom's. We got her into a one of the new Ford Rangers, a bigger truck, mid-size truck, whatever size they are nowadays. And yeah, that's my dad's old four-wheel drive in front of it there. It ain't ran in like 9 or 10 years. But anyway, that's why y'all haven't seen me in so long. Life's been really hard. Really hard. But anyway, me and my wife bought this car before all of that happened, so we've had it for like a year and a half. And just recently, Muffin, we finally got a tag and stuff on it, so that's cool. We're finally able to drive it and whatnot, but now I'm getting all torn into the electro-digital issues. The reason why we got her for $3,800 when it looks like this. It's an old Lincoln Town car, so naturally there's a lot of electrical problems. But the main one we're working on right now is the Fancy Pants Digital Dash. If y'all know anything about these cars, you're familiar with the issues with the digital dash, where after so long they'll eventually catch on fire. Because they've got, I've looked up wiring diagrams, and as far as I can tell, he's got like 3 different power inputs. 2 of them come on with the switch. Those should be no problem. It seems like where we have an issue is the 3rd power input. She's all the time full power, all the time, probably to retain all the stuff that it has in the right corner of the dash, your trips and all that stuff. In doing what I'm doing here, we're gonna lose all that memory, but we don't care. We're more concerned about the gauge cluster catching on fire. So what happens, from my research I have found, the one power lead that's hot all the time wears out a circuit in the dash because he never powers off. Probably has something to do with all that Florida sun too, combined with the power never shutting off. But whatever happens, something in the digital dash shorts out, and then it starts smoking out of the dash. The last time it happened to this car, I bought it from a customer. We've replaced this once. But the last time it happened in here, something on this side of the dash, the gauge instrument cluster, like popped, made a little bitty fire inside the cluster, and was filling the interior of the car up with smoke. And with it having power full time, turning the key off does nothing to remedy that. So that's a gauge cluster from some other car that's been rebuilt, so it's probably fine. But it has 100,000 less miles than the one that caught on fire before. So I'm guessing if I just left everything hooked up like it was before, we'd probably get like maybe 100,000 miles, maybe 50, and then that one would catch on fire. So anyway, all I'm doing right now is I'm not really fixing that, because I don't know how to fix circuit boards. But what I am doing is making it where she doesn't get full power all the time. So it's not like, you know, burning the cluster up while the car's sitting in a parking lot, parked with no one in it. That'd be an inconvenient time to catch on fire. Yep. So that's not going to remedy the issue of that circuit in the cluster wearing out, but it will make it live much longer in theory, because it's not under power all the time. It's only under load while the car's running. So hopefully That'll help us be able to retain the fancy digital cluster for a while. Because the only other thing I know that I could do is put a analog cluster in here, if that's even possible. And, you know, that would kind of suck, because it's a town car. You fancy digital thing. But anyhow, back in here in the harness, I've dug into wiring harnesses online. Hopefully they're correct. We'll be testing to verify. But this lime green, light green with a purple stripe is the power all the time. And then we got two blues with a something stripe over here. Blue with a red, blue with a something. What are you? There's one with a yellow. Yeah, it's two blues with a red stripe. Those are the keyed power. So what I'm hoping I can do is tie in a relay in here so the full power wire doesn't make it to the cluster, and then have the relay triggered on with maybe the keyed power, one of the keyed power wires, if that doesn't overload it, or I may need to do something different. But that's my theory anyway, making it where that green wire is not hot all the time, so when you shut the key off, that wire loses power into the cluster. Yeah. Alright. Now we've got the battery hooked up and the key off. I've been like unhooking the battery every time I shut the car off because of this problem. But anyway, my wire moved. We got the battery hooked up and key off, and we have verified that wire does supply power all the time. So now all we have to do is to cover our bases and make sure our wiring diagrams aren't lying to us, is verify that nobody else has power going into that gauge cluster with the key off. And as long as no one else does, we'll make this one wire only have power with the key on, and yeah, Bob's your auntie. Things are improved a little bit. Alright. So those power wires are the light green with the purple, and then there's two light blue with pink. Not the red one over here. I think that one's the signal input from the coolant temp sensor. That also doesn't work on that dash. That's a different problem though. But anyway, yep, she's hot all the time. This one's hot on key on, and then I found right over here, this is the plug that plugs into the front of that cluster. There is the other light blue with pink. So those are the two wires that get hot with the key on. That one's hot all the time. Not anymore though. And see, I'm using this little piece of wire here to probe these connectors because my guys are way too big. Don't ever try to shove these into those little holes. It'll work. It'll test the connection, but when you go to plug this back into the board it came off of, it'll have a really loose fit on that pin or no fit at all. And you'll either have a spotty connection with high resistance or no connection at all. And then you'll just give yourself a million new problems from jamming that thing in there. Anyhow, I'm going to keep checking through and make sure that I don't have anything else that's power all the time, but so far it's just that one. Well, I'm glad I checked all the wires going to the cluster, because the wiring diagram said this was the only one that had power all the time, but I've got 4 wires that have power with the key off. This one's got 11, that one has 10, that one has 11, and this one has the 12 point whatever 13 battery voltage. So now I get to go inside and research what these other 3 wires do. Yay, this is okay. See, I'm getting my relay put in for the one wire there that's power all the time, that green and purple. And I finally found a good wiring diagram online. Had to pay $20 for it, but this wire down here, the brown and white, the diagram says he should be a trunk ajar light, so that'd be the reason I'm getting power here. He's coming from the lighting control module to say the trunk's open. And the other 2 wires I have here, there's the black and yellow, and then the tan and yellow. The tan and yellow is the chime warning message for like a door being open, and then the black and yellow is door open. So the black and yellow is like signal from the lighting control module that the door's open, and the other one is the signal to turn the chime on. So it looks like I don't have any more live power feeds besides that one. So putting in my relay should make it. When you turn the key off, all the power goes away to the instrument cluster. So if it does catch on fire, it at least won't do it while you're not in the car. Yay. That's what it looks like cleaned up a little bit. There we go. All that work just to make the instrument cluster not be able to remember the trips and whatnot. Alright. Just tested and verified that we still have all the functions that we did before. So that's good. Now I just gotta mount my relay up over here. And again, this isn't exactly like a permanent way to fix the problem with the psst in the gauge cluster there, but it'll make it last a lot longer anyway. It's pretty funny too, because the whole time we've owned this car, I've been unhooking the battery every time I park it, so the gauge cluster didn't have power, so now the relay just does that for me. The only downsides are, like I said before, it's not going to remember our trips and whatever over there, but oh well. That's not a big concern. I'm way more concerned with the smoky electrical fire. Ooh. But now it's about time to start putting some of this stuff back together. That would be neat. I've had the interior of this car apart for months. Another thing I did down here, well, a few other things. The shifter guy, I put new bushings on his, whatever you call that. There's like a rod that goes down through here with an appendage at the end that pulls on your shift cable. And the rod was all, you know what I mean. Put new bushings in there, made them nice and tight again, so that's cool. I also had an issue down here with the shift unlock guy. You know, you put it into park and you got to hit the brake before it'll let you come out of park. That thing was intermittently failing, and luckily this thing's old enough. I was able to go back here, this is the connector for it, and just unplug it, because he's a normally open servo, so whenever he receives power he like locks you in park, but when there's no power to it, it lets you shift gear. So luckily I was able to just unplug that, and that's bypassed. So now we won't be stuck in the Walmart parking lot with it not letting us put it in drive with the key in it and it running and all that. So that's cool. It's also really neat that it's old enough it didn't give me a bunch of check engine lights and issues. Because on a lot of modern cars, if you try something like that, it won't let it start. Anyhow, let's put some plastics back in. And probably not the stereo, because that's another problem. It works fine, but the button this is a common old Ford stereo thing. This thing has like a retainer in here. You click it and it holds it in, and then you click it and it pops out. Popped out is on, and in is off. And yeah, it doesn't go off anymore. So that's why that was unplugged. Ooh, that looks more Lincoln-y. Much more cleaner and put together. Can never get those doors on the first try. The old ladies' rigs. And then behind me, we got my rigs. You know, fellas, I sure am proud of myself for finally making it to where I got 4 old beater cars on the road. Well, this one's kind of a lot prettier than anything I thought we were going to have. But I always dreamed about having 4 vehicles on the road for this very reason. Me and my old lady both drive damn near antiques. 2 out of the 4 here are antiques. And her car's a 97 and her other car is a 95. So the whole point here is when she goes to start that car one day and it has an issue, it won't go, we have a problem, it breaks down somewhere else, we can tow it home. And I can take a few days to figure it out while she drives this one. Same thing over here. Again, I never would have ever thought I'd have something that nice or new. She's a 2011. I don't think I've told y'all anything about the old Ranger yet, but that's the last year they made the real Rangers. And you know a little bit about my old school daily. I've driven this thing for like 10, 12 years or something like that. Whew, it sure is nice to have a backup option. I drive this one more often now because it's got air conditioning. That's pretty cool. But same thing here. When this truck breaks down, I can drive that truck to work and not be like, oh my God, work on one of our rigs until 3 in the morning so one of us can go to work. So that's neat. That's really neat. Well, I have to show you all about this thing someday. I've had it for like a year, I think. I've put a couple $100 into the front end control arms and ball joints and all that stuff, and inner and outer tie rod ends. I painted the wheels. They used to be rusty silver with chrome hubcaps on them, and I went for the blacked out look because I don't have black wheels on anything. They're always chrome. I put the little Amazon taillights in it and whatnot too. That's another project I have. All the Rangers only utilize the middle light and the reverse light, and this dude's just open, never had a bulb in them. So I ordered 2 more taillight socket guys to hook in up here, and I'm gonna run LED bulbs back here to hopefully make up for the taillight circuit probably not being happy if I doubled up the regular incandescent bulbs. That may cause a problem with too much load on the circuit. So I think if I go the LED bulbs, she might be happy with me. But we'll see. While I'm out here, I might as well show you the lights on the front. When I got it, these were really, really, what do you call that? Fogged over, faded, and baked on. So the light couldn't get through the housing very well. I got these on Amazon. They match the cool little Smoky Mountain Ranger look we're going here. They're not the silly smoked out lights so you can't see nothing, but they have like the black background, so it kind of gives it the smoked out light look without being stupid and not being able to see any of your light. The little markers there are orange, so that guy lights up orange on the turn signal. Anyway, it's about time for a test drive into the old Lincoln. That sounds fun. My old lady's particularly excited about this thing because it's a 95. I think it was a 94 that she grew up in with her parents. She rode everywhere in the back seat of that town car. And they're like the same trim too. They were both the Cartier. Carter. They're both Carters. You know, so that's pretty special. And she got the blue tag. It just turned an antique a couple months ago. Almost forgot. I just got these LED headlights in. The seal-its for the old town car. That'll be swell, because the headlight system in this rig needs some attention. Because I think it has the same problem that I've had in that car, and in a truck my sister had, and in my 92 truck over there. And I did it something else too, where Ford didn't run relays for the headlights, so all the juice the headlights consume go through the switch in the dash. And eventually the switch in the dash gets tired of all that, and you start having the lights like fade out, and you start getting high resistance and low lightage, and yeah, you have problems to the point where, like I had in my 92 truck, it would very consistently, the headlights would come on and they'd be like pretty bright, and then they'd start dimming and dimming, and then the light wasn't so good, and then they just shut off for like 2-3 seconds, and then they come back on and they do the same dance again where they dim and then off, and until I wired in relays, so the switch in the dash was only turning on a relay, and it was handling the load all short path there up in the front instead of going through that switch. After I did that, I drove that truck for several more years. That one over there. That one. For several more years without ever having issues with the headlights ever again. So probably going to do that here if he doesn't have relays. But the LED lights will at least help immediately take the load off that circuit anyway. And they should be brighter than whatever's in there right now. Oh boys, the seal-its were a success. Well, we don't know, we haven't turned them on yet, but they fit. You know, you always gotta take a minute. Every time you buy a part, especially an aftermarket doodabber like that, and it just fits into the application, that's rare. Moving on. Ooh. Oh, boys. They function. That's always nice. Now not only do we have brighter headlights, but they might even without me having my relays and stuff, I still need to dig in here and make sure we don't have headlight relays. I wouldn't expect them to, being older than the Vic and it not having them, but the Lincolns did get things before the other, you never know. But anyway, not only are the lights like even brighter now, but they draw less power, and we may not have the issue that we had before where the lights were all dim and then they shut off for a moment and then they came back on and then they stayed on the rest of the way home, so that was fine. She's got the additionals. It's really time for a test drive now. The last time we went on a test drive and it got dark out, we had that light problem. And, and it made sense too, because everything else was going really smooth. We made it to the milkshakes. So that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Can't complain with that.
No complaints.
And we got new LED headlights. What do you think, guys? What do you think? We made it all the way to get milkshakes and back. And we had headlights on the whole time. That's really neat, because the last time we tried that, they got a little flickery and dim, and you couldn't really see a whole lot in front of you. And oh, that was nice. You gotta enjoy each and every little improvement, no matter how small they are. Yeah, every little improvement. Next, we gotta get a stereo in the hole. Now that I don't have to unhook the battery every time we shut the car off, I get to enjoy this amenity.
When I left it, towed.
Oh my god, it made a beep. I think it has an alarm.
I told you it had an alarm. If it has a fob, it has an alarm.
Huh.
It's not very loud, though.
Alright. Well, that about wraps up this here Hotel Ford Lincoln Town Car working on how y'all doing video. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff, and y'all have a good day.